Um, now, color palette. This has a lot of lovely maroon colors in this thing. And I always use yellow ochre to indicate the street. And then I use, to make the shadows, I use ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. So like on this one, which is my quick study that I did when I was there, because I just can't have all that darkness in there.
Yeah.
All that graphite.
But thanks for putting them in initially.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, what I should have done was taken a picture of this first because I can get good to have that. And all right, so if I used a limited palette, it would look better. And if I was going to use a limited palette, I'd probably use red and green.
Red and green.
So try to simplify it down into a few colors, which is always hard for me because I like to pick up all the colors.
Me too.
Me too.
Like colors, that's bad. All the colors.
DJ, there was somebody yesterday was doing watercolor portraits, a very famous artist from I think he's from Louisiana. Anyway, the south part of the United States. And he was doing a live demo on Facebook yesterday. Maybe I can find it and send you. It's very, very famous here. And he was doing it through the plein air convention guy, Eric Rhodes. Are you familiar with him, DJ? Eric Rhodes?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, he's actually on, I think it's Facebook Live every day. And he's the publisher of Plein Air Magazine and Realism Today, Plein Air Fine Art Connoisseur Magazine. And so he's online every day, and then he has guests that do demos. So I'll send you the link. But yesterday, and I meant to watch it, but I got busy doing something else and I missed it. And I really wanted to see it because he was doing watercolor portraits. So, okay, brushes. Let's get some brushes wet here. I like to use a larger mop brush to start because, and this isn't a large mop brush, but it's a mop brush anyway, to put in the background. And I have there's a lot of flowers in this painting. So there's a lot of pinks in there. And I want to make those pop. So maybe I'll make some of this foliage here, like a bright limey green, and then the pinks, just a little bit to make that pop. And the rest we'll try to subdue with maybe a warm red. I think that will help. See this bright sunlight coming in on these flowers? Those are details that you can focus on because you've got your lightest lights here against your darkest darks. So for a focal point, you can zoom right in, and your sunlight takes you right in there to the focal point. Other highlights that you can save would be details on the car, like the mirror, the roof, the hood of the car, a sprinkling of white flowers down here. And then when you put the people in, you can figure to do some counter change where if the guy's walking through this shadow, like you can make his pants white and then the shadow dark. I'll show you when we get there, if I remember. Okay, so let's mix up. I need to reload my palette just a little bit. Okay.
So what color
There
blue?
is-
Which blue are you using, Carolyn?
Right now I have cerulean blue,
the rain.
and I kind of like the way this blue looks on here. It's seducing me. The blue with that red, I don't know, that orangey red, and then against the cerulean blue, I think it's really pretty. So I'll probably just do something similar to this. And, you know, when I put it back there in the sky, I just go like this, you know.
It's cold. Who's that?
And so I drop it in kind of heavy like that, weird, just, you know, irregular shapes. And then I can take a brush that's wet and dampen it off a little bit with my sponge. I don't think you're able to see my sponge, but so a damp brush, and you can just soften a few edges here and there. But I kind of like, I like a lot of hard edges in the clouds. I don't know why, I just do. And I like bright colors, so that kind of works for me. And sometimes you can just pull down a little bit. If you want a little ray of sunshine coming through there, you can pull it down. You can also add, like, if it seems like you want a little bit of warmth in there, you can add that. But I think what I'll do is I'll just start putting the green back in these trees, a real nice light green. So, boy, my palette's kind of dirty here, but let me pull up. Well, this is actually okay, this green here. It's my yellow, my lemon yellow that's contaminated with other, actually it's contaminated with red and blue. Let me try to get that out of there. I'll get some, I love that color though, that I'm producing here on the side. I don't know if you can see it in the, let me move this thing out of here. Okay. Oh, there it is. See that?
Mm.
It's like leftover lemon yellow with lots of other greens in it. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to use it, but I'm going to put some more lemon yellow on my palette. Where did it go? I was showing it to Terry earlier because we were on the phone earlier and talking about paints, and here it is. Permanent yellow. So I'll swoop up. All right. Well, I've got a mess of everything mixed in there. Let's get some yellow. There we go. Okay, so I just want to start putting in a little bit of yellow and letting it, this greenish yellow, and letting this be my background color. I wanted to get it in there a little bit so it blended with part of the sky there. And I can add a tiny bit more water, but not too much, just to, it's already starting to dry, so to help it. And then along the edge on the bottom, just soften it with a damp brush and let it pull down around and fade to nothing over those people. And if you want, try to save a nice white above the car if you can. And just bring it down to the horizon line. And then check your edges along the the top edge of these remember, Frank Webb says, make interesting shapes. So you can go in there and fiddle with it a little bit. And take another brush if you want and soften it. Now we're going to go back in with another color, most likely on top in certain areas. So I'm just softening some of this out. And the wet brush is having some of this is moving a little bit, but some of the water, but don't worry. Just, I like an interesting shape. I think it's fine. And I've softened that top edge. And if you wanted, and let me soften this here where it's coming down to these people, because I don't want a hard edge in the middle of those people. So I'm just softening it down with a damp brush, just moving along the edge here to fade it out so I don't get hard edges along there. And what I want to do now, there's going to be a hard edge right here, but I'm going to put in that color for the building. And let's, so what I'm going to do is just put in a local color for this Six Pence Pub. And in this case, I'll just use an orangey kind of red. It's just a base color. All over that whole area. Even the one behind it, doesn't matter. And I'm going to let it run right into, to bleed into these trees here. And this edge, I'm going to soften right here so it just fades into the background. Okay, and I may add a little more orangey red, and maybe I'll add a little bit of my alizarin crimson, which is, so I'm combining the reds. So I'm making a, you know, a little bit of a mixture there. Two reds together, a warm and a cool, living dangerously. Well, look at how bright and beautiful that is. Okay, so now I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to let it go. And what I'll do now is go into my yellow ochre because that's what I usually use in my street. So I'm going to let that, I'm going to bring it right up into there. I'm going to bring it down. There's going to be flowers here in this flower box. So we'll just come across, right across. With the yellow ochre, and that's our base for the land. Remember, we got land and sky. That's all you have to worry about, land and sky. And then the foreground. And then when you start thinking about your details, you'll start thinking about your, in this case, the middle ground. See how that yellow ochre just makes such a nice,
Mercy tone.
a nice, beautiful wash. And sometimes, now my brush probably had a tiny bit of that cad red in there. You can add just the tiniest touch of cad red to your yellow ochre. And in this case, maybe that cad red is reflecting off that awning. And so you're putting, you can just add a tiny bit of that in the wash and you get a nice little glow there. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then where you're coming into the picture in the very foreground, you can take your ultramarine blue, like I said, and burnt sienna, and make up just a little wash of a gray neutral, ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, and wash that right down on the bottom. There we go. That's our first wash. Now the car, I haven't really thought too much about it. I can do that afterwards. If I want to put some local color on the car, like whatever it is, I think I'll probably just use ultramarine blue and make it a dark kind of a car. So I think I'll just put a little bit of ultramarine blue and burnt sienna and keep it dark. And I wouldn't necessarily have to do this now, but I can kind of let it meld into the yellow ochre that's already there. Just a little. I don't want it to totally go all, take some of that water off my brush. That looks nice. And I know there's going to be a shadow here, so maybe I'll just come across with that. In the top part of the windshield, I'll go back into that cerulean blue and just give it a little wash like that. And then I would dry it with the hairdryer and let it dry. And then I come over on the next layer, step 2, which is your shadow layer, and start doing some of the shadows and the details. And I want to show you my painting and clean up the edges of your tape to get all that off of there.
Lead.
Now, if you look at this painting,
Wow.
see how I did the yellow ochre underneath?
Mm.
And then in the foreground, how I darkened it? That gives you that sense of space going back into the picture. So
Mm.
there you go, there it is.
How big your original painting?
This one?
Is that A3? How big is the painting? This one.
15 by 22. 15
Inch. Wow.
by 22.
22 inch. Wow. So it's
Is that
A3. More than 22 inch. Yeah, we talk about the centimeters. Also like I need a cover. Oh,
Hold on.
22.
Okay, so 15 is 38.1 centimeters.
40, yeah. 30 by 40 centimeters. Is in
No, by 55, almost 56.
oh, 55.
So 38 by 55.
Wow. Massive. Really big, yeah.
Yeah, so when I showed up at the plein air painting event,
Wow.
to turn in my paintings, I came in with
Yeah. So you have to carry all the board.
two big large paintings
The
framed,
board bigger than the paintings. Is it? Yeah.
and I turned them in with
Massive.
4 point
Massive. Oh.
massive.
You usually plein air see people drawing tiny little photo paintings, don't they? Yours was massive. Wow.
You know what's funny, Tong, is when I was there painting in the under the rotunda, in the memorial park with the thing underneath the cover. There, you know, I was painting there all day, and people were coming and going, and there were between 70 and 80 artists signed up for the event.
Wow, massive.
There were a lot of
Wow.
people, and there were 4 ladies.
Lots of people.
Yeah, four painters, 4 ladies from South Carolina, and they came into the area to paint because it was wet outside. And they painted little 4x6 oil paintings.
Tiny, yes, that's what I'm thinking. Most of the plein air artists all painting tiny for pictures. Your one's massive, very difficult. That
Oops, right. So, yeah.
very difficult. Mm.
And my friend
Wow.
from the area, she went too, and she's a very, very good artist. And she painted oil painting. Well, she painted 2 oil paintings, 24-inch. So
That's, yeah.
what is that? The 60-centimeter oil paintings. She
Wow.
did, and she did a large watercolor.
Wow.
You could only turn in 2, so she turned in both of the oil paintings.
Mm.
And, she only ended up selling 1 of them, but
Oh,
hers were large too, you know.
yeah, massive.
I was laughing at the ladies with the little,
I can imagine that. Yeah,
oil
I
painting.
can imagine that.
It was like 6x6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, it's nice, it's cute, it's just very different. From
Yeah, just
you with my,
yeah, much harder. Yeah, bigger ones. Oh,
well, watercolor's harder to
deal.
deal with, and then you've got more framing materials. You've got to have a backing board, a foam core.
Yeah, the backing board must be even bigger.
Then you need a frame. Then you need plexiglass on top.
Yeah,
And when you're going for the,
carrying a lot of stuff.
yeah, they sign your paper, so you have to show that inside your frame. You have to cut the board away on the back.
Oh,
So
wow.
they can see the stamp that you actually painted it with the check-in materials that you had. Crazy.
Ooh, very professional. Huh?
It is. It's like a
Serious one. Yeah, it's a serious one. Oh, dear
it's a
me.
serious thing. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
dear.
just glad they sold the 2 that I did.
That's a professional. Yeah, very good. Wow, massive.
It's funny.
Can I-
Okay.
55.
Which can be, this is where you can this is the hardest part of the
Take
painting.
a photo.
And it's where you can easily lose track of, you can just start getting into all kinds of trouble. So I'll try to be careful. I'm going to start painting in some of the darker shadow colors. And for this, I don't want a mop brush. I want just a nice pointy brush that holds some water, but not too much, because we're in the middle values to darker values, we want more pigment than water. With that said, I just have to spritz my palette a little to get my paint wet. All right, so we want to darken up the value in these trees back here. Why don't we start with that? And I'll just add ultramarine blue, which is a nice transparent blue, with a little bit of my yellow. This is kind of a pretty green here. So I'm just gonna start throwing that in. And I'll leave some holes for, sky holes for, and I see that's pretty cool, so I'm gonna add a little burnt sienna into that mix to make it interesting. And to come down with some of my branches. And I'll go back into my mix again and kind of refine any little shapes and things. Typically on the trees, the details, like any little leaves or anything, would be at the edge. You know, the middle is just the middle. So just get something fun going for that tree, and then go across the page and keep it going. And you can connect it by just connecting that watercolor So I'm using a lighter, obviously not something so deep where the shadows are in the middle of the tree. I'm using a lighter watercolor wash, and I'm going across the back here of my painting. And as I go across, I'm going to add a little bit of cerulean in there, here and there, maybe around the light post, to the green mix, and just touching in a little bit of a different color so that, guess what, it's not boring. And I'll leave a little white space on top of that car if I can. This is called cutting around, painting around, or negative painting around things that are important that you need to save. And then I'll just come right up into here. Where that meets the awning, I don't want a hard line. I just want to soften that by keeping it nice and light. Maybe down in here, we'll have a little more yellow. I don't know. I like to use bright colors. We'll just put that in there. And as I get towards this side of the awning, maybe I'll make it dark again, as if that is maybe receding a little bit behind there, around these people. That'll help the people pop out too. And as I come down, I'll just pop that in. Terry said she saw, oh yes, a bright yellow Jeep in the background. So that's a good place where I can use that right there. I got my Jeep back there. I'm just putting that in so I don't lose it. And I just bring this wash down to the road. And this is where you can just look for little opportunities to, maybe right here I want to soften that edge a little. So I'm just going to try to pull the paint up a little with the damp brush. And come around this car. I think I'm going to bring that edge all the way down because it looks a little bit cut out, and I don't really want that. In fact, I could lose an edge. Losing an edge just means softening it and not making a hard edge around something. So there we go. Soft around these people. Take a damp brush, soften it out. Same thing with this guy back here. He's going to be a darker. So if I say darker, pick up ultramarine blue and burnt sienna and put him in there. There he is. Now I talked about counter change, so we'll talk more about that as we get a little bit further into this. Okay. There's a guy starting. All right, so there's our background. And then on top of that, we'll put more of our darks. This edge is a little hard. Maybe I'll soften that a little. But I think that looks pretty good. And then you just keep going. So now, in our photo, this up here is pretty flat, but the sun's coming this way. So I do notice a slight shift. You can't really see it in the picture, but it's got to be a little lighter on this end than that end. So if I was gonna do a little shadow on there, I'd just take my ultramarine, a little bit of that cad red that I had. Maybe we'll just make a couple little shadows there on maybe a little more cad red here, a few shadows on that. And then underneath, there is a shadow underneath this building. So I'm gonna pop that in, a little more red. I'm kind of mixing the paint on the page because I want it to be nice and flowy. There we go. And I want some change from the I don't want it to just be all one big blob of red. So I want the shadow to have interesting colors, some blue, some red in there. And it needs depth and darkness there because the value under that awning has to be dark. So there we go with that. And I'll continue by making a few other shadow shapes. And that it has very distinctive glass windows there. So look at that. And the awning next to it behind there, I'll just get that in after. There's another little awning here behind. And if I look at my picture, notice how the value of that awning, see how light that is compared to this? So there's also reflected light underneath this awning coming up from the sidewalk, from that sunshine. So this is actually darker than this. There's reflected light there, and that helps when you, here I've put in a glowy red and blue together to give it a little bit of, I don't want to touch that. I want that to be perfect. I want it to just mingle together and be a nice glowy shadow under there. On top, on here, I can put more ultramarine and red, cad red, whatever red you have, for a little more shadow. And some dry brush maybe. Coming down the page. Make it interesting. A few darks there. And maybe it can, we'll just pull this down. Along the edge, you can make some interesting little, what do you call them? Deviations, little things that make the shape interesting. Don't paint it like you see it, or it'll be boring. Try to add something a little bit to it. I don't know if that's okay. And then don't mess with it. Maybe here this could be a little more. There we go. And then across here I'll put the name of the Six Pence Pub. So that'll show up really nicely right there in white. And we'll be able to see that awning back there. We can trim that with a little bit of our, a nice warm burnt sienna and whatever. You can just put in a few little C shapes, a few little comma shapes right here along that edge. And you don't need much, right? Just that much. I need another sip. I'm getting thirsty. Okay, so do you see how this went from that nice cad red underneath in the first wash to
Beautiful.
all these beautiful dark shadows on top after it dried? Okay. That's an important step that's hard to think about, because you got to think about leaving your light shapes, your lighter colors underneath first, and then going on top with your darker ones. And you also have to think about making interesting shapes and interesting color variations at the same time. So if you just painted that all with one big old red, it would be horrible, right? It would not be interesting. It wouldn't glow. It wouldn't do anything. watercolor is supposed to be mixes mixed together on the paper, on the palette, various ways to get it, to make it exciting. So splash things around. Okay, now, speaking of splashing things around, I want a few of these nice red shapes, colors, pinks, whatever, up here in this area, and I didn't save good highlights for the flowers right there. But I couldn't just save a big old space of white, right? Because that would look cut out. So what you can do is take your brush, damp brush, just hit it like that, and then suck out some of that paint. And today I'm working on sketchbook paper, believe it or not. It's thick sketchbook paper, but I can still lift some of that out of there, and it's not going to destroy the paper. Same thing with right here. There's going to be flowers there. So anyway, okay, so let's pop in a little bit of pink splatter there. So I'll just use alizarin crimson, and maybe I'll mix it with a little bit of white, Chinese white, whatever white. Can you see it in my palette here?
Mhm.
Okay, Chinese white. We're gonna put in the pink flowers for DJ right there. DJ. A little bit there. And, you know, on this side, on the right side, there's some sunlight there. So I don't want it to look too cutesy, but this is a flower town. And so you can put them in like that and then soften an edge a little bit so it doesn't look pasted on. That got a little too high. And then we can go into a little bit of our, and put in some green. I'd mix a little bit of blue in there to make. You want this pretty thick, because I want it, while that's wet, I'm just going to add a few little dark details to these baskets of flowers. And see how that's going to bring that to life? And maybe on the bottom, even darker with a little bit of burnt sienna. So I'm changing the color all the time. And same thing with this one here. Wait, where's the other one? I guess it's back there. The further back, the lighter you want to do it, so it's not, oops, let's get that off of there. So this back here, there's flowers, here there's flowers, and they're really, and now I'm dropping in just a few more. Let me zoom in more so you can really see that. Just dropping in while it's wet there. Some pure pigment. Not everywhere, but the whole thing about this town is that it's loaded with these flowers. So look at that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on these. Now I've just put a flower basket there on the light pole, which was a mistake, but
Wondered about
That's thinking. Oh,
it's
So,
it can
reasonable.
no,
okay.
they're everywhere, these flowers. Okay, we'll put a few here on this. And then remember, there's also flowers here on this corner where the
Yeah.
where the car is. you remember I said there's little white ones and, all right. So here's our, so we'll put in a little bit of green foliage, and the side that's away from the sun, which is the left side, look at how we can really darken that up and make that pop there in this basket. And while I have that on my brush, I'm going to put the darks in over here, and they're maybe hanging over that. Anywhere else I need a dark, I'm going to drop in a little bit of that pigment because I don't want to waste it. It's on my brush. And I'm dropping some darks in there, connecting these two. And there we go. Now, this side of this pot is the light's hitting it. So I'm going to go with a damp brush there to soften that out. And let's get these have a lot of, that's a real light shape underneath there, which it's really nothing. You don't have to worry about it too much. I'm going to make it pink just because I want to. A light shade of pink. And then some of this I want to soften a little bit. So I'm just adding a little bit of water and pigment to this thing here. And then we can get our we can go ahead and get our big shadow shapes in now and our people. So let's start with some heads on these people. I'll just pick up some burnt sienna and give them head shapes. And that guy too. Okay, they're all walking away from us, I guess, right now. And yeah. And, you know, the girls, since there's pink flowers, I'm going to give them pink dresses. This girl's going to have a little pink tunic. And maybe this guy's going to have a blue shirt. I'll just pop in a little bit of blue for this guy. Maybe make it a little darker. Maybe add a little burnt sienna for some variety. Where's the dog? This guy's gonna have the dog. I'm gonna leave his arm long there and put the dog there. So we don't forget that, right? This guy back here will make him blue too, just for whatever. And then let's put the dog in. I need a little brush for that, just so I don't forget about him. So I just take a little burnt sienna and maybe a little ultramarine, and we're going to put him right here. Ooh, there's a lot of ultramarine in that. I better get a little more burnt sienna. There he is. Here's my little doggy. Okay, well, I've got that burnt sienna on there. I'm going to warm up this pot by putting a little bit of more detail on there. Maybe a little more detail on this planter. What else can I put burnt sienna on? Maybe a couple more sprigs on this tree. Like that. Maybe, I don't want to do too much more in there. The leash, I think I'll make that brown. So we'll just put that like that. And we'll give him his traditional red collar. Right there. I might add a little red to this flower, pot to echo that. This is the cad red, the bright red. Remember I put first a little bit of alizarin crimson red, but now I'm using a little cad red to echo the red in this awning. So we're just building it up as we go. I'm bouncing around a little bit. Some people work from top to bottom, some work from left to right. I work from
Wherever.
wherever I need, wherever it's dry that I can put in. Like I decided to start putting in the flowers so I don't lose them. And I know that down here, what's gonna make this all work is the shadows. So I can put those in last pretty confidently. I don't have to worry about it. And then all of my final details I can put in. So right now, I think what I'll start doing is putting in my shadows, and then it'll all come together. I'm gonna take a picture quick because kind of at the point where
Reason I took the picture because they are not like a YouTube video we can watch again. Zoom meeting, Zoom painting, we just gone when they finish, they gone. So I can't watch again. You know what I mean? So I better take every stage. I take a roughly picture so I know.
do you?
What's
Yeah,
going
that's helpful. And I do that when I'm taking.
For me, definitely. Yeah, for me, definitely. And otherwise, I just lost, forgot about it.
Well,
Straight away.
It's a step-by-step learning process until you
Yeah,
are confident.
very important. Yeah, very.
And it's not an easy thing.
No.
And
That's definitely intermediate level.
oh yeah, definitely.
Not for beginners.
Right. And if I was not doing this step by step to teach you, I would be doing this.
You just already
Really
finished, have you? Yeah.
Really
Fast and looser and just
looser and
finish.
faster, right?
Yeah.
So
Master will be sleeping by now.
you'd be sleeping by now?
Master will be sleeping.
Oh, I'd be sleeping already by now, right? Because I'd be done, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still learning too, DJ. It's not easy. They don't all turn out. They don't. Not for me anyway. Some, like my friend Lucy who paints, she can make just about anything turn out. I mean, she's been doing it her whole life, you know. I mean, she's a trained artist.
Professional.
From way back, professional artist, yeah. I'm just a wannabe. But
Oh, you're not a wannabe.
You're already very good. Yeah.
Oh,
That's why we all learn from you. We want to be you. Not really. Can't. We can't. Never can. But yeah, we try.
so let's put some shadows in now. And where is my, well, I decided to change the shadows, so I erased them so we could see better, but it's time to put them in. And what colors do we use for shadows always?
Grayish.
Grayish, yeah. I use ultramarine blue usually and burnt sienna.
Yeah. No.
But you can also add a little bit of, oh, let's see. You can add a little bit of red if you want. If you don't want it so brown, like the burnt sienna will really neutralize the ultramarine, but if you want a little more of a purplish, you can add a little bit of alizarin crimson, a little red to it if you want, or a little bit of, I don't know, of an orangey red or a red red. Okay, so here's my shadow mixture. This is the part that I usually blow, that I usually don't always get it right. So take a deep breath.
Oh,
and try to, let's get this guy. Now this guy here, well, I'm gonna take a little bit of burnt sienna and just give him some legs with the dry brush. And then I didn't really get I should do my car first, honestly, because the car should melt into, I'm gonna just add this little, it should melt into the shadow. And so, and then this is a really good place to use neutral tint. Terry was asking me about neutral tint earlier. And neutral tint can really darken up right there. See that? It can really darken up your tires and the bottom portion of this car, where it's nice to have that dark shadow in there. Now I wouldn't necessarily use neutral tint for the whole shadow. Here I'm adding in back my other color a little bit to soften it. And then back here, you just kind of have to be brave. There's a car back there with a shadow too. We'll connect that. And then here, I think we said the shadow was going to come all the way. I don't think we're gonna, oh, maybe I'll take it over there. I got my dog now to deal with, so we'll put the shadow under him. And I think that looks pretty good. This, oops, that off of there. Just gonna put those dark shapes in. Here's where, when it's wet, you can add a few dark shapes, details, while it's wet to keep it, to just like, you know, in your car and around this plant. You can paint negatively to keep that thing, you know, you're just painting around it. Here's a shadow on this guy. You need some shadows coming off of this plant. And then all the way down to the foreground, like that. And let's not forget about our tree back here. That's casting a shadow. Let's try to make the shape a little bit interesting, if we can, like that, connected to that guy. And this we've got, there's a shadow coming off those girls. And if I do it different, I probably would have made that little one shorter there, but that's okay. We'll just connect it to the dog there. And one thing to remember is the shadows are darker closer to an object, like right here on this planter, and then they fade out as they go. So I'm giving that a real deep, dark shadow there. And then we'll connect everything with the lines on the road. And I'm also going to, I think we'll put a little shadow back here. Where this building, just right along there. And I'll take a dry brush and give this guy some pants. Give him right there. My brush wasn't too dry, but there he is. And these girls, they get a little dry brush on their legs. That girl. The shadows are connected to that. You can add a little bit of skin color to an arm here or there. Here's a little, let's give him an arm coming down there. And then and just keep looking at the shadow shapes and trying to interconnect the people together with the shadows. And my box here, we'll go back in there and give that a darker shadow in a minute. But right now I'm just gonna take my liner brush and I'm gonna do telephone poles, wires, things with burnt sienna that are details of the painting. Okay, so we've got the telephone pole. And we'll just use a light medium gray to put in these wires. And my camera gets in the way, so I'm going to slide this over just a little bit so that I can put these in without, okay? To make sure you have enough water on your brush to get them in there. And just make some interesting wire lines, whatever they're all, electricity wires. Maybe there's one back here that's poking off that way. And then our light post, that's coming down in front of our Jeep. That one there. And we'll take some burnt sienna and put in our street lines, perspective lines on the sidewalk and the street. Like that. Give yourself a little bit of detail in there. And a little bit there. I'm gonna add my ultramarine and burnt sienna dark for a couple of these birds. And a few more darks here for the birds. I like birds on these wires. And maybe I'll put a little dry brush there. And then there's a wire coming across there too. We can do the rest of our car. We can give it a shadow coming across this way on the you know, what do you call this thing? Windshield. The windshield. Sometimes artists call it a windscreen.
Yeah.
That's British, very British.
Yeah, English say
British?
Yeah, English say windscreen. Yeah. Oh, don't know.
And then I need to put in a few darks for my Jeep back here on the bottom of this little Jeep car right there. It's got a fancy grill that goes up and down here like this. And it has a shadow too, but it's lighter because it's in the distance. So I just lighten that up a little. And if you want, you can take your Chinese white and add a few highlights to things. Right now my Chinese white is full of pink. You can use it right out of the tube if you want. Then you keep it, then you get a nice thick highlight. Okay, so what else do I need to do? Oh, I want to put in some more, a little bit more texture on the road. over here. It's a little bit boring in this space. I might even try to put in a couple little birds there on the road, but I'm not sure how effective that might be, but whatever. There's a couple little things there. And, you know, you can keep adding details and more refinement until you're tired of it, or you can call it done. But anyway, this, I would take some more dark here and make this shadow shape on this box here stronger. Make it more interesting. Something going on there, and maybe behind here a little bit. And then a dry brush. We talked about that little awning back there, which, so right now what you do is you just pick up little details that help refine what might be happening back there. And you have to decide really for yourself, how much more detail does it need before it's done? So, let's see here. So you just keep searching in your images for details to put in, and you know, keep painting. So I'm going to add a few more. I've got a lot of white shape there that I saved, so I'll add a few more flowers there, and then get into a nice green underneath there, and let that kind of hang out there. This is still not dark enough, so I'm just going to green it out, gray it out. That's all in shadow under that canopy. So in fact, I can make even more of a, I can add a red glaze there if I want, just like that, to indicate that they are under a red canopy, and there it is. And then on the street lamp, I like to put a little bit of shadow on one side. So that side's in shadow. Same thing with the other one down here, which we can't even see, but there it is. I just popped it out. And that one needs a pole. Remember, as things go back into the painting, they're typically lighter. And I think I added another little wire there to this thing, which I kind of like. There we go. Put a little bauble on top of that. Any little details for the viewer's eye to pick up on are always nice extras. And maybe this guy can have a highlight there on his shirt. And can put a few little splatters of that nice turquoise right there on that planter. It's hard for you to see that, I know, probably. Maybe a few over there. And then let's get our white paint. Here's our gouache. Gouache. Here's some brand new titanium white, permanent titanium white gouache.
Brand new.
I feel like this guy's, he needs to be connected more with this shape, so I need to find something to connect him there a little bit more. Maybe just a little bit of burnt sienna. just anything that kind of architecture, something that is going to get him, I don't know, connected to that piece of the. And I think just adding a few little details like that and you're good to go. Give her maybe a little bit of skin color here on her neck. This guy. And yeah, let's see, what else? Well, I think I'll take my CAD Red and put a big old signature right here. And maybe just a couple little touches of red on this car. Maybe the license plate is a little red there. Maybe I can put a little red face on the side of that guy. This lady, maybe she's got a little bit of a red face. I can splatter a little bit of that red on top of that light green. Ooh. For that planter. And then let me get my white out and do the final details. I need a little more excitement here. So I really want to splatter in some nice color there on that pot. There we go. And I'll put a nice little red there on the car, maybe another one. Maybe that guy's got a little red. Just a little highlight. An accent color that kind of takes you in. And a few more there. And then we're going to take our white gouache and we're going to name the Sixpence restaurant. And then the painting will be done.
It looks so great and so not like what,
Beautiful.
So what?
it's not even similar to what mine looks like. Yours is beautiful.
Beautiful.
Well, you know,
I'm learning, and I'm good with it.
yeah. And yours should be fun and expressive and actually the Sixpence thing, instead of doing it stark white, you should add a little bit of yellow ochre to that to make it like a creamy white, because nothing's really white. In fact, I'm going to try to just lift that off of there a little bit. And lettering is something that I don't, I'm not very skilled in, but there's people that are really skilled in lettering. Main thing is you really want to, you want mostly pigment here. You don't want a lot of water. So 6, I just want to give an indication of this. In fact, I wish I would have made it a little bit bigger, because if I post this on social media, I'm going to take that out. Someone will buy it.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
The pub owner may see it, because I tagged him earlier in the
This one, yeah, very nice.
my story today.
Good, cool.
So
This one smaller.
yeah, when I post the finished painting, I'll tag him on it. And in fact, I met the manager because I left that one painting there, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
For the girl at the coffee shop. DJ, you didn't hear that part, but I painted this painting of the coffee shop across the street. 6. And I left it there at the Sixpence Pub for the girl to pick up. Now, where's my, I still want a little bit more paint in here. Thick paint when you're doing lettering. I'm not a lettering person, but some people are really good at doing lettering. You know, the guys that do the pinstripes on your car and stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
They know how to do lettering.
yeah.
It's not quite white enough now. So try to get, I have like so much gouache right now on my brush. But this part, EN, can't get my, I gotta thin it out a little.
But I really do think that like when you do these things, sell your art really inexpensively to the owner and just say, hand out my business cards, tape them right up there. Get a little like, you know, sticky thing that you can put right next with your business card. Seriously.
Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't sell it cheap to the owner.
Because you want it to have value, like.
But I'd sell it to the owner.
Yeah, yeah.
Six Pence Pub. I'm trying to get it on there so it's. Let me get on my chair here. And I've got light shining in here. I want to take the sunlight out of here. And then I'll untape it and you can see it. There we go. Sorry, the sunlight was coming in.
No, that's okay.
Nice. Beautiful.
Oh, great, Carolyn. It looks so good.
Okay, so this has been a really long
Gorgeous.
It's been a really long stream, but I think, you know, I went into a lot of detail and
I appreciate it. It helps me a little bit because I'm just so new. And so when you talk through all this, it gives me things to think about and consider as I'm painting, even though I'm not even, you know, I'm still trying to get my colors mixed right.
no, I know it's a lot. This is a very advanced kind of
But I enjoy it.
because watercolor's hard. It's not something that you know you can do.
And I'm used to it. It's like it irritated because I'm not able to, like I have to rinse my brush in between paints and I'm
Right, you're thinking of everything. I know. I should make beginner classes simpler. Like how to mix your colors and working on color sheets and color charts and
doing that. So it's
drawing simple shapes like carrot people and little cars.
It'll be boring. Can I take photos? Your final painting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Because if you want to sell, you probably it's limited edition. You nobody can copy it.
there you go.
No, go ahead. You can
Oh, take one. I want to do it. I want to do it tomorrow. Yeah, again. Today I sketchbook. Yeah. Yeah, I mean always tomorrow is better than today. Some reason. But I really enjoy it. Yeah, really enjoy this. Really nice.
When I look at it, I'm seeing things that I need to refine already, and that's the way.
And after they dry, you may have the colors may change a little bit. Is it?
Oh yeah, and then
when they dry that.
You know, it's done on the fly like this. There's always, you know.
It's beautiful. It's amazing.
I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnection between, like in the background, I need something else back there to break up this area just a little bit. It's a little too stark right here. So, and maybe, I don't know. Maybe
more people, huh?
More people. my Jeep is a highlight. I don't know.
That theater, front of theater, full of the people. Wow.
It has a personality, and I kind of like it. But I'll let it sit, and then you know I may decide to add a few more little. Like here, it could use a couple little doodads to break up
battery low. Wow.
To break up the Oh, this still has wash on it or something.
10% battery. Huh?
Yeah,
I had to go plug mine into the charger.
I know,
'cause
Zoom meeting really costs the battery. It was 80% charge when we started. Now 10%, can't believe it.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Wow. Lovely. Getting better and better.
What do you think, DJ?
I'm watching it very closely. Those flowers are so beautiful.
Oh, thank
These
you.
trees also.
You know what? The flowers, like this one here, maybe should be a little bigger, a little more prominent. Or maybe I should just have another one. I don't know. There's a little bit too wide of a distance there, but this should be a little, like maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can add another one next to the front of a blue car, do you? Left side. Oh, I'm just joking. I don't
Oh, like here. Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. There could be another one there.
Yeah, so
No,
make
you
a
can-
continuous, yeah, like a lamppost.
Like it goes down the street, right?
Yeah, gives a
Yeah.
dimension of I'm only talk rubbish. Don't believe
No,
it.
that's good. No, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, but really beautiful, like all the colors. Oh, yeah.
Well, colors
yeah.
really pop with these lights shining on it.
Mm.
You know, but it is watercolor, so it does have a nice glow to it.
Yeah, and I really like that
really
kind of green in the background as part of the green there. It really does. Yeah, I really like. I never would have like even thought of putting that.
Yeah,
color.
transparent, huh? My watercolor always so muddy. I think I mix too many colors. Probably keep simple, huh? 1 or 2. That's it. Makes it very fresh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was muddy.
Don't mix.
I can't show you. So embarrassed.
You're not showing mine either.
But I'm always brave. I just don't care.
Here could have been.
Learning is good. Yeah, I like learning. Wow, beautiful.
Could have been better.
Maybe one more straight basket on the floor one next to the car.
Yeah,
next to the
maybe.
front of a bigger car, between the small yellow car and the blue car. Yes, there was one.
There's a trash.
Is that a rubbish bin? Oh no!
Rubbish bin.
You can change it. To, you can
want
change it to the fast. Yeah, to the flowers. Yeah. Oh. Beautiful, lovely.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's garden one, huh? Garden. Wow. Really mastering. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Love this one. Yeah, beautiful.
Really pretty.
Is that the orange tree on the bottom of a garden? It's a building. What's a building out there?
This building?
Yeah, it's just the.
It's
just the house.
It's a gift shop.
Oh, it's shops. Oh.
This whole garden is part of the Blowing Rock. There's a rock that sticks out. It juts out over the huge valley with the.
Oh, they're so clever.
Parkway, kind of in the background, and so this area is called Blowing Rock. And there's a legend that a woman, an Indian woman, because there were Indians here before America.
Oh, right. Are they? Oh.
An Indian woman stood on top of the rock, which juts out, and she's standing there, and she sees an Indian, a young dude, an Indian dude down in the valley. And I forget how the legend goes, but he comes up to the Blowing Rock and they get married. And then he notices something down in the valley and decides that there's something going on down there. He has to go back down to his village. and she worries that he's not going to come back to her, but he does. And there's like some story of the blowing.
Oh, very romantic story. Yeah, lovely.
So anyway, this is the gift shop at the Blowing Rock Garden. And then
Blue rock. God.
Beautiful. Just beautiful, Carolyn.
thanks. Oh man.
Beautiful. I
This
think
was,
the yeah, sorry.
oh no,
You
sorry.
carry on. You carry on. I may disappear soon because the cable not long enough.
Oh, okay.
Because the charger not really charged.
Well, we hope we don't lose you, but I know you'll be back.
The cable too short.
DJ, thanks for hanging out with us today. It was nice to see
Yeah,
you.
it was.
Middle of night.
I hope you can get back to sleep.
Yeah, I will sleep. Don't worry.
Good.
Do you have?
Well, I'm going to jump off. I've got to get ready for tomorrow. I got to get a couple of things done.
Ian, is
all
the
right.
dog still there next to you?
Yeah. We are the bank holiday Monday tomorrow. No
Show your
work.
dog to DJ quick.
And that's a good clapping. Right. Thanks very much, Caroline. Really enjoy it. Lovely
You're welcome,
lessons.
Tom.
Yeah, really enjoy it. See you later, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good night,
Thank
DJ.
you. Oh. Oh no.
Good night, Tom. DJ, are you doing okay? It's just you and me now.
All left.
That's all that's left. How's everything going?
Yeah, it's good. I was practicing a lot of people, and I'm comfortable a little bit more. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I didn't understand.
Yeah, I said. Yeah, I was practicing a lot more portrait,
Okay. Yeah.
and I'm getting more comfortable in drawing faces.
Good. Good.
So
Well,
yeah.
I'll send you the link to the watercolor painter who does some beautiful portraits.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name right now. What is his name? Well, I send you the information when I find it. But there's a lot of good
Yeah, okay.
tutorials on that online. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever look
But
up? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was saying that I think I need to study the basic first.
Oh, okay.
Still, and that face and the plane.
Right. The planes and
Yeah. So that's the problem, I think.
yeah, just keep. I don't think you have a problem because the ones I saw look good, but just a lot of value studies, right, for the plane
Yeah.
and save the weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should do some self-portraits. Take
What?
pictures of your face in good light, 3/4 view, right?
Yeah.
Not straight on, but do 3/4 view with good light shining on your face, and do portraits of yourself, real quick ones.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good practice.
Okay. Okay, what you will do now?
Now I'm gonna probably go eat dinner and watch the news. Yep.
And I will sleep.
And you will sleep. Well, thanks for joining us. I wanted to make sure that you knew we were on, and I wasn't sure if you could do Zoom, but I wanted to be able to talk to everyone today. So it's
Yeah,
nice to see
it's
you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Huh?
What do you think?
Oh, I was just gonna say, get a good night's sleep, and we'll talk to you this week.
Yeah, okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Okay. What's that? Oh, chat. Okay. 16.9? He's 69? That's a lot. No.